Much of the world no longer remembers October 7th, but we remember. Israel remembers October 7th. Well, I'll tell you, you can remember October 7th too. You see this large pin here? It's a QR code. What I ask you to do is hold up your phones, zoom in, and you too will see why we fight and why we must win.
So Bibi Netanyahu gave a speech at the UN, and as we promised, we are going to review it on here because it is very, very important. It's a reminder of everything that we've known, and it's a reminder of Jewish pride and standing up for what's right and not getting confused in a time of crazy. But what was really funny and entertaining just before we review all the points of the speech was the fact that when he got up on the podium, hundreds of diplomats left the stage, and what seemed to be a very, 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 very big moment. Look at how many people hate Israel. Look at how willing these diplomats are to give up all form of integrity just to make a political point. Here's where it kind of gets hilarious, because J-Post, the Jerusalem Post, discovered this, and we'll just read it quickly. The letter was obtained exclusively by Walla of the Jerusalem Post Group. According to the letter, delegations were asked to bring as many staff as possible into the General Assembly Hall and the Visitors Gallery by 8:30 a.m. local time, and then exit the chamber together the moment the President of the General Assembly announces Netanyahu is taking the podium. So, once again, support for the Palestinian thing, this massive, enormous support, is fake, and it's bought, and it's all based on propaganda. They had to ask people to come, to remove them, so they could make this big point and have a video go viral of them showing that nobody wants to listen to Netanyahu's speech. But here's who did listen to Netanyahu's speech, because eagle-eyed viewers would have noticed that there was a QR code on him, okay? And according to the Prime Minister's office, 30% of the people who went into that QR code were from Palestine, Gaza, and Iran. People that Netanyahu actually tried to speak to. As we already know, there were loudspeakers placed outside of Gaza so that the hostages could hear the speech and the people of Gaza could hear it, but also their phones. The Gazans' phones were hijacked and the message was played. And he says this during the UN. Yep, we played the message. Number one, in hopes that the hostages will be able to hear it and remember the strength that we need. But number two, to remind the Palestinians who the real enemy is and what's really going on, and that Israel will not be defeated by Western weakness. And that is the main point of this whole speech that he gives. It's to remind us that Western weakness is just that. It's weakness, and Israel is not going to fall for that. And that this whole propaganda thing that we're failing, etc., it's just not true. So let's jump into it and watch it, and let me hear what you guys think. Was this one of the best speeches Netanyahu's ever given? I'll remind you guys that every time he's gone to the General Assembly, enormous things have happened behind the scenes. And so we're hoping and waiting and plotting. Maybe this time it'll be of the same.
So here's where things stand today. Half the Houthi leadership in Yemen, gone. Yahya Sinwar in Gaza, gone. Hassan Nasrallah in Lebanon, gone.
His 1-year anniversary.
The Assad regime in Syria, gone. Those militias in Iraq, well, they're still deterred. And their leaders, if they attack Israel, will also be gone. And for Iran's top military commanders and its top atomic bomb scientists, well, they're gone too.
Woo! And I think this is an important way to start the speech because morale can feel low. The Gaza war, it's going on for so long, it's gone for so long. But guys, look at what Israel's done with some conviction and some thought and some discipline and some real focus on who the real enemy is. We are eviscerating the threat. And so let's just take a second to think about that, because most of the time when we think about the war, we're exhausted and morale is low. But right now, morale can be high. Look at all the accomplishments in just a year and a half. It's amazing. It's amazing. And yes, of course, there are things that we haven't yet accomplished. Of course, I'm not negating that. But look at what we have done. Feel a little bit of pride in your country, because when you go online, you'll just think that we're failing and falling apart. But guys, look at what we've done.
You remember those beepers? Pagers?
Oh, yeah.
We patience, Bob. And believe me, they got the message. And thousands of terrorists dropped to the ground. But we're not done yet. The final elements, the final remnants of Hamas are holed up in Gaza City. Atrocities of October 7th again and again and again, no matter how diminished their forces. That is why Israel must finish the job. That is why we want to do so as fast as possible.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, much of the world no longer remembers October 7th. But we remember. Israel remembers October 7th. On that day, well, I'll tell you, you can remember October 7th too. You see this large pin here? It's a QR code. What I ask you to do is hold up your phones, zoom in, and you too will see why we fight and why we must win.
That pin just takes you to a page of Hamas atrocities. So be careful before you zoom in and watch it. But again, what does October 7th stand for? It's not just a day. It's a reminder of what these people do whenever they get the chance to, right? And so people need to be reminded of that. But again, 30% of the viewers of this actually are from Palestinian territory, Gaza, and Iran. Guys, that's an enormous win. An enormous, 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 enormous win. Good job to whoever thought of this.
It's all in here. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to special efforts by Israeli intelligence, my words are now also being carried. They're streamed live to the cell phones of Gazans.
Hilarious.
So to the remaining Hamas leaders and to the jailers of our hostages, I now say, lay down your arms. Let my people go. Free the hostages, all of them, the whole 48. Free the hostages now. If you do,
Let my people go, guys. Not bring them home. Let my people go.
you will live. If you don't, Israel will hunt you down. Ladies and gentlemen,
And we mean it. We mean it.
if Hamas agrees to our demands, the war could end right now. Gaza would be demilitarized, Israel would retain overriding security control, and a peaceful civilian authority would be established by Gazans and others committed to peace with Israel. And of course, you understand that the war in Gaza has affected every Israeli. But I'm sure there are people in New York or in London or in Melbourne and elsewhere who are probably thinking, what does all of this have to do with me? And the answer is everything. Because our enemies are your enemies. So let's do something else. So first at the UN, let's do a pop quiz. And raise your hand if you know the answer. Here's the first question. Who shouts death to America? Is it A, Iran, B, Hamas, C, Hezbollah, D, the Houthis, or E, all of the above?
All of the
All of the
above.
Correct.
Woo, woo,
All
woo,
of the
woo.
above.
They all want
Second
us
question.
dead. Yay!
Who has murdered Americans and Europeans in cold blood? Is it A, Al-Qaeda, B, Hamas, C, Hezbollah, D, Iran, or E, all of the above?
All of the above.
Correct.
I want to add something that's important and I have a lot of thoughts on, and we might need to make another video about it. But in this audience, the new leader of Syria is sitting, and he used to be Al-Qaeda. And there's this picture of him sitting there listening to the speech. We're like, oh, look at me, diplomatic. And then there's this other picture of him holding two heads. And that's kind of trending. Like, defund the UN is trending at the moment because you should defund the UN because what the heck is going on in the UN at the moment? I mean, it's just abysmal and disgusting. But besides the point, the fact that he's giving the speech talking about the negativities of Al-Qaeda, and there's an Al-Qaeda operative listening in a suit being treated like a leader. It's a little bit problematic to me on a personal level.
Again. So here's the point I wanted to make. Our enemies hate all of us with equal venom. They want to drag the modern world back to the past, to a dark age of violence, fanaticism, and terror. I think many of you are already feeling in your own societies the radical Islamist surge. You know, I'm sure you do, you know deep down that Israel is fighting your fight. So I want to tell you a secret.
Amen.
Behind closed doors, many of the leaders who publicly condemn us privately thank us. They tell me how much they value Israel's superb intelligence services that have prevented time and again terrorist attacks in their capitals, time and again saving countless lives. But regrettably, many leaders who are represented in this hall, they send a very different message. Sure, in the days immediately following October 7th, many of them supported Israel. But that support quickly evaporated when Israel did what any self-respecting nation would do in the wake of such a savage attack. We fought back. Now just imagine, just sit back for a second and imagine an attack against America proportioned to the attack against Israel on October 7th. Imagine a regime, a terror regime, dispatching thousands of terrorists to invade the United States. They massacre 40,000 Americans. They take 10,000 Americans hostage. What do you think America would do? You think America would leave that regime standing? You don't think that. No way, not a chance. The United States would wipe out that terror regime and ensure that such savagery would never threaten America again. There's a familiar saying, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Well, for many countries here, when the going got tough, you caved.
Most importantly.
And here's the shameful result of that collapse. For much of the past 2 years, Israel has had to fight a seven-front war against barbarism with many of your nations opposing us. Astoundingly, as we fight the terrorists who murdered many of your citizens, you are fighting us. You condemn us, you embargo us, and you wage political and legal warfare, it's called lawfare, against us. I say to the representatives of those nations, this is not an indictment of Israel. It's an indictment of you.
True.
Thankfully, President Trump's administration is forcefully fighting the scourge of anti-Semitism, and every government here should follow its lead. But instead, many do the opposite.
Weak! You guys are weak!
Reward the worst anti-Semites on earth. This week, the leaders of France, Britain, Australia, Canada, and other countries unconditionally recognized a Palestinian state.
Ridiculous.
They did so after the horrors committed by Hamas on October 7th. Horrors praised on that day by nearly 90% of the Palestinian population.
The innocent.
Let me say that again. Nearly 90% of Palestinians supported the attack on October 7th. It's not supported only, they celebrated it. They danced on the rooftops. They threw candies. That's both in Gaza and in Judea, Samaria, the West Bank as you call it. And it's just the way they celebrated another horror, 9/11. They danced on the rooftops. They cheered. They threw candy. You know what message the leaders who recognize the Palestinian state this week sent to the Palestinians? It's a very clear message. Murdering Jews pays off. Well, I have a message for these leaders. When the most savage terrorists on earth are effusively praising your decision, you didn't do something right. You did something wrong, horribly wrong. Your disgraceful decision will encourage terrorism against Jews and against innocent people everywhere. It will be a mark of shame on all of you. But wait a minute, Mr. Prime Minister, they tell me. Wait a minute. We believe in a two-state solution where the Jewish state of Israel will live side by side in peace with the Palestinian state.
Ugh.
There's only one problem with that. The Palestinians, they don't believe in this solution. They never have. They don't want a state next to Israel. They want a Palestinian state instead of Israel. And that's why every time they were offered a Palestinian state, but were required to end the conflict with Israel and recognize the Jewish state, every time, over the decades, they turned it down. And that is why every time they were given territory, they used it to attack us. In fact, they effectively had a Palestinian state in Gaza. So what did they do with that state? Peace? Coexistence? No. They attacked us time and time again. Totally unprovoked. They fired rockets into our cities. They murdered our children. They turned Gaza into a terror base from which they committed the October 7th massacre. So here's the uncomfortable truth. The persistent Palestinian rejection of a Jewish state in any boundary is what has driven this conflict for over a century. It is still driving it. It's not the absence of a Palestinian state. It's the presence and existence of a Jewish state.
Correct.
And I find it amazing, that the foreign chancelleries and the ministries and all those who pontificate about this, and the leaders, how can they not see this basic truth when it is repeated again and again and again ad nauseum? So here's another message to those Western leaders. Israel will not allow you to shove a terror state down our throats. We will not commit national suicide because you don't have the guts to face down a hostile media and anti-Semitic mobs demanding Israel's blood. And I want you to grasp something else, which is also distorted in the media. I say this not only in my name or the name of my government, but on behalf of all the people of Israel. Last year, there was a vote in the Knesset, our parliament, whether or not to oppose the imposition of a Palestinian state. You want to guess what the results were? Out of 120 members of our parliament, 99 voted against, and only 9 supported. That's over 90%. It's not a fringe group. It's not the prime minister who himself is extreme or he's held hostage by extreme parties to his right. It's over 90% of Israelis. My opposition to a Palestinian state is not simply my policies or my government's policy. It's the policy of the state and people of the state of Israel. I believe that in the coming years, the Middle East will look dramatically different. Many of those who wage war on Israel today will be gone tomorrow. Brave peacemakers will take their place. The rise of Israel did not mean that the attempts to destroy us would end. It meant that we could fight back against those attempts. And that is exactly what Israel has done since October 7th. Our sons and daughters fought like lions. Our brave soldiers donned their uniforms and rushed into battle. They were armed with the dreams of the 100 generations of Jews who came before them. The dream of living as a free people in the land of Israel, our beloved homeland for more than 3,000 years. The dreams of living in our own independent state, the dream of having an army to defend ourselves, and the dream of being a light unto the nations, a beacon of progress, ingenuity, innovation for the benefit of all humanity.
Amen.
On October 7th, the enemies of Israel tried to extinguish that light. 2 years later, the resolve of Israel and the strength of Israel burned brighter than ever. With God's help, that strength and that resolve would lead us to a speedy victory and to a brilliant future of prosperity and peace. Thank you very much.
Amen, Prime Minister. Amen, amen, amen. Look, this speech was exactly what it needed to be. Number one, just a subtle reminder to all of us of what's really going on. We're winning. The other countries that are supporting Palestinian state are crazy. That's not actually going to happen. But I think most importantly, what the speech did was directly to looking at the Western countries in the eyes and saying, we're not changing. Excuse me. You want us to? No, we're not caving. We're not going anywhere. We're staying here. You're weak. You're pathetic. That's going to be your problem. It's not our problem. You can learn from us. You can gain courage from us. You can defeat evil when you see it, even if the whole world hates you. Or you can do what you guys are doing, which is pathetically falling for the mob, for these people who just hate everything and who are trying to manipulate you. And you're looking weak, and it's embarrassing. So I'm embarrassed for you. But you want us to cave for it? Nah. No. Israel doesn't do that. Israel's strong. And Israel's not going anywhere. And Israel will continue to be strong. And will continue to be a light upon the nation. And even if you hate us, and even if you try and do everything to sabotage it, which is obviously just ridiculous on your behalf, and behind the scenes, you're thanking us for the work that we're doing. You guys are weak and pathetic. And that's going to be your problem more than it's going to be our problem, because we are not. We are strong, and we are amazing, and we are courageous, and we know good from bad. We can see it, and we learned it, and we saw it, and we understood it on October 7th. And that message, we haven't forgotten it. And you guys, you have to deal with your radical Islamic problem, and you have to pander to it and fall for this lefty media that just wants to manipulate you. Well, that's your problem. That's not our problem. We're not going to be that way. And my friends, that's the only message that can be there. That's the only message we have left. You want to be an idiot? So be it. Unfortunately, we'll have to help you later on, but okay, that's your problem. We're not going to be idiots because you guys are idiots. That makes no sense. We are going to have courage and be capable and stand up tall and loud and proud. And if you want to be hateful, pathetic, meek little leaders, that's on you. And that is all I've got to say on that matter. Thank you for your attention to this matter.